everyone, and welcome to SALCC Updates, where we bring you news on the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. It is my pleasure to be here with you again. My name is Natalie Jolie Fanas, and I am the Senior Communications Officer at the college. And as usual, I am here to give you some information. And it is a time of the year when I know many people look forward to, and we too at the college are happy to bring you that kind of information. It is the time when we are going to be opening our applications for the new academic year. That period normally starts from February and runs till April. So all of our programs are open for you to apply, and you know we have a range of programs, over 50 programs being offered at the college at the bachelor's, associate and certificate levels. And I will bring you a calendar very soon that you can look at. So as of now, you can go to our website at salcc.edu.lc where you can apply. And if you want more information on the programs, that is available on the website. But in the coming weeks, we will be bringing you information sessions via Zoom that you can sign up to. And if you keep connected to us via our social media pages, and if you keep informed via the website, you will get those dates. We will also be sharing a calendar with you that has all of the programs, all of the departments that and what dates they'll be having their sessions. And we have moved our sessions not just during the day with our secondary schools, but you will be able to access them in the evening so that parents and adults can join in, and you can ask your questions. You will be able to find out about the requirements and what each program entails. So we look forward to you joining us at those sessions. In addition, this year we will resume the entrance exam as we have in the last 2 years as a response to the pandemic. We know that the Caribbean Examination Council has faced some challenges in the timing of their exams. We still do accept the qualification, but just so that our process can remain timely and that we can accept students into our semester that begins in September, we will have the exam again by the end of April before the actual CXC exams begin. And you will get more information again on that during our sessions and on our website. So the exams are in mathematics and English, and if you do and pass those exams, you will get early acceptance into the college. So we are presenting you with options. If you do not, then you wait for your CXC results, and then we will have a regular acceptance period once the results are there on time. So it's all about working with you, and you can let us know, keep speaking to us via our social media pages and our WhatsApp platform. So that is our update that our applications are now open. And as usual, I do have with me a guest, and it is my honor today to introduce to you the Chair of the Board of Governors of the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College, Mr. Cletus Springer, who is joining us here today. Yes. Welcome.
Thank you.
Mr. Springer, thank you for joining me here.
It's good to be here
this afternoon.
Yeah.
And I know that you're wearing two caps. Well, yeah, among others, but let's focus on those two where you are the chair. Yeah. And I just want to find out first, you know, how are you doing? How has it been for you?
You sound like my doctor asking me how's my health. I'm doing well, I think. As you know, I'm retired. So people ask me how you're able to manage these two very burdensome responsibilities. I'm not in a 9-to-5, 7-day-a-week job, so that helps, yes, firstly. And if I have to compare what I'm doing now with what I used to do at the Organization of American States, where I dealt with 34 member states, 34 prime ministers, 34 ministers of environment, you know, that this is comparatively speaking, a walk in the park. In terms of time and tension and stress and pressure and so on. And it's even better knowing that you're contributing to your country. Mm-hmm. And that has always been what I'm about. I love this country of ours with a passion that I don't think anybody can claim to equal.
Wow.
And so every opportunity I get to make a contribution to my country is one that I embrace. And I'm enjoying it. Well, I'm enjoying the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College more than the COVID. The COVID has a lot of tension and politics and stuff like that with it. But
everything has politics.
That is quite true. That is quite true. Some have more than they should have. But so that's it. I'm doing well, I think.
I'm very happy to hear that. And if nobody has thanked you for your years of service to the country, let me do that, because I know you've been a public servant for a very long time.
I have.
And you know, you hear the word servant, and people don't always, they don't always walk that talk, and they don't always see what is given. So it's amazing that even after so many years that you've still come back to give service to your country. Yeah. So I want to applaud that.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much.
And thank you for your time.
Yes.
So let's start from there. After so many years in public service, I think when I look at your ministries, it never included education.
Yeah.
And now you are at the helm of the National Tertiary Institution. Right. So talk to us a little bit about that transition, you know, what you can carry over, and what differences are there with now heading an educational institution.
Right. Well, I'd say this. I'd say once you've attended a university or a tertiary education institution, you acquire a first-hand appreciation of that entity. And the deeper you go into that process, the deeper your understanding of how it works. So I've been to UWI, I've been to schools in England. I've worked with the UWI in the design of courses, for example, the energy management course. I worked as a consultant assisting in the design of that course, the Masters in Energy Management. So I have some immersion, not as deep as I would like, but you can't know everything. And I am relying very heavily on a board with colleagues who have had that exposure. This is Fortuna Anthony. I have a former chief education officer that I can lean on, and I have leaned on her quite heavily. She's not only a former chief education officer, she's a former chairperson of the board of governors.
And a former principal.
And a former principal, and a former this, and a former that. And there's Dr. Anthony Felician, there's Mr. Neil Paul, who until his retirement, he headed the Sridath Ramphal Institute on Trade at the University of the West Indies. And so when you have these kinds of people that you can draw on in a consensus-making kind of environment, it helps greatly.
Okay, great. But I guess the leadership that you acquired from being a super PS for so long does help you.
It does. Well, in the sense that you have an understanding of public service management, and in the sense that you know the actors, and in the sense that you acquire some awareness of the networking that is involved in an educational institution. So when people look at education, it's not a silo. It cannot be a silo ministry. It's a cross-cutting ministry. So it will cut cross planning. Because I remember when I was in the Ministry of Planning, Mr. Leighton Thomas, who was then the principal of the Arthur Lewis Community College, when the Southern Campus was being set up, he came to my ministry to talk about the land that would be needed for that facility. And I remember very vividly saying to him, because he wanted just about an acre of land, and I said, no, Mr. Thomas, I really believe you're looking for at least 5 to 10 acres to accommodate future expansion of the Southern Campus. And that has turned out to be the case. The Southern Campus is now very much an institution in the lives of the people of the South.
Definitely.
I say this with a great deal of pride and satisfaction, because you want a college to be of a community, not to stand outside of it. You want the community to congeal around the college. And the Southern Campus has done that admirably.
Yes.
From everything from the defensive driving courses to the other courses that they're doing here. We have the same affinity in the north, in the main campus. Natalie, I think I would say without any fear of contradiction that at least one tertiary level graduate in the country out of every 4, or even every 3, has passed through the doors of the Arthur Lewis Community College.
Definitely.
And we have former alumni in all positions. In the private sector, in the public sector, we have them overseas who are teaching at universities. I think all told, South Louis Community College has done a good job. What we have to do now is consolidate. Consolidate, and then from that base, we have to now expand. But in that expansion, we have to keep in mind that we cannot move ourselves away from the community that we wish to serve.
Yes.
That is the critical thing that we have to keep in mind.
Definitely. And I know, I mean, your tenure is just about 4 months that you're going into. In that time, I'm sure you've had to be like on a fact-finding mission.
That's correct.
So just tell us what process your board has been through since you took over to now.
Yeah, 4 months, it looks like a year already, but we've done what some people refer to as a norming process, normalization, familiarization, to put it in another word. So we have met with, we have had meetings with the principal, we have had meetings with the program needs, we've had meetings with some stakeholders, some of the key ones, Employers Federation, I met with them not too recently. We had to meet with the Chamber of Commerce and so on, to ensure that we have a college that is fit for the purposes of these organizations. We have looked at all of the reports. We have had meetings with the consultants who are working on current reports and so on. And one of the things that strikes me about the college, I think I've never seen an entity that has been over-analyzed and assessed than the Arthur Lewis Community College. I mean, everywhere you turn, a report pops up somewhere. And a little disturbingly, the reports repeat, many of the findings and the recommendations. And so that tells us that what we have is an implementation issue. And there are various reasons for the lack of implementation. The lack of continuity is one of them. The board's term is 3 years. And if you look at South Louis Community College, where it is at now, the capital development program that is required to help it transform into a university college is significant. We are using buildings that have, I don't want to say outlived their usefulness, but we have done an amazing job in maintaining some of these buildings. There's some that have deteriorated sadly. The Hunter Francois Library is one of them. But the information that we have tells us that to convert to a university college, we would need hundreds of millions of dollars.
Wow.
And not just in terms of the capital development, but also in terms of the soft areas. And if you have to look at where the world is going and where the college needs to go, if it is not left out of the transition that is taking place globally, in areas like artificial intelligence, in areas like software design, all the mind stuff that is driving economies now, it's no longer a case of the brick and mortar, metal and machinery.
Knowledge-based.
It's knowledge-based. So that transition is going to take a little while. It'll take more than 3 years, certainly. But we are determined to break the back of this and to put the college on a path for transition to a university college status within 3 years.
Great to hear that. I know this has been a work in progress. Mr. Springer, we need to take a short break right now. And when we come back, I want you to speak to maybe some of those key areas that has been popping up in all of those reports that you think you can really act on. Okay. So please stay with us. You're watching SALCC Updates. We will be right back.
Meet Michael, a college student, and his older sister Michelle. Both siblings have dreams of becoming entrepreneurs, but are uncertain of where they should start and lack opportunities to develop their entrepreneurial skills. Gateways to Global Careers is a new groundbreaking program at the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. Endorsed by prominent universities and organizations, the program provides you with hands-on, immersive training in running your own business. Participate in workshops, seminars, internships, and more, delivered by our world-renowned experts, catered toward improving your innovative and entrepreneurial abilities, structured to fit around your schedule, whether you are a working professional or a student. Secure your future now. Sign up for our Gateways program here at the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. Learn more about Gateways to Global Careers. Visit our website www.salcc.edu.lc.
Welcome back to SALCC Updates, where we bring you news on the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. Today, I'm joined by the chair of the Board of Governors, and he was just talking about where his board has been in the last 4 months since they took over the governorship of the college. We're back, Mr. Springer, and you were saying that there was some repeat, I would think, recommendations that you have seen in the reports as in your fact finding. Can you, and I don't know if you have as a board, I'm sure there are things that you've identified that are sort of like you must do. Can you speak to a few of those?
Right. Well, the first issue in the transition to university college status is to get the legal status settled. And so when we came in, we found that a consultant had already done an advanced amount of work on that. We met with the consultant. We have reviewed the instructions that the consultant was working with. We have made some suggestions for changes, but that task is I would say about 80, 85, 90% complete. Okay. So once that is completed, now we will transmit it to the Ministry of Education for a dialogue on it, and then it will go to Cabinet and then on to Parliament. Let
me just stop you there to just make sure that people understand the background, that the college is actually governed by an act that established it in 1985. That's what you're referring to, right? Correct. And there are items in there that will not suit the transition. Right,
because it's an act that was written for a college. So for transition to a university college, you need a new act, basically. And that act has to take on more of the character or reflect more of the character of a university than of a college. Yes. But it still has to maintain the character of a college, because the college is where the community element is deepest. So we have done that. The second part of that thing is the whole issue of accreditation. We have been offering quite a few courses. Not all of these courses are fully accredited, and we have to move very quickly to ensure that those persons who have graduated from these courses have degrees that are portable and that have some degree of recognition by others in other countries. We have done this over the years through a variety of techniques, franchising, MOUs and stuff like that with advanced colleges or colleges of us. But the good news on that front is that the Cabinet has moved quickly, and the Accreditation Council, the National Accreditation Council, is likely to be in place by the first week in March.
That is great news.
So I know that it is the composition has been settled, and that Cabinet has treated with it. So by the 1st of March, we're hoping that will be in place. There's a lot of work to be done there, of course. It's not going to be a straight case where our courses will be accredited from day one, because you have to look at things like standards, and if you're going to be, for example, going the route of franchising or having another university or another college to recognize your thing, there's going to be a benchmarking process that's going to have to take place. They will have to come observe you and so on.
And the college has done some benchmarking through the Office of Institutional Effectiveness.
That is correct, for some of the courses that are being, I think. But critically, in the new courses that we will be offering, I think it's fair to students. That's the fairest that you can get to students, is to give them something that instills pride, that allows them to advance on their career development goals, that allows them to get decent employment, where they're going. So the accreditation is very, very critical.
And the first step in accreditation is always for you to have your National Accreditation Council, right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Well, it's the first step. It's a necessary step. But there are ways around it. While you get your accreditation situation settled, there are other avenues that you can pursue to give to your courses some degree of oomph. you know, once. So that's the second. That's the second or third thing.
Second, you said accreditation is second. The act is the first. Accreditation is the second.
Accreditation is the second. So the third thing now is we have some urgent decisions to make about the farm at Denby. The thinking in the board is very, very strong that the farm has a critical role to play in driving this country, the agricultural diversification thrust of the country, and connecting that to a pedagogy around farming and agricultural entrepreneurship and stuff like that. So we visited the farm. We are very excited about the possibilities that the farm, the potential of the farm for significant growth. 41 acres, 40 odd acres of land in a prime agricultural belt. I mean, the possibilities there are endless. So, but again here, to have that farm to achieve its full potential, you need a significant investment in mechanization, in changing the approaches to farming, you know, using organic farming, for example. People believe going organic is an easy thing to do, and is very costly, it's very intensive. You need to do everything from pesticide residue tests to ensure that your product does not exceed a certain threshold in terms of pesticide residue. You have a whole suite of things that you have to do. If you're looking to do what is called a closed loop system. I have visited farms in Costa Rica, organic farms in Costa Rica. I must have spent about a day on each of them. And I never saw one fly, one insect.
Wow.
And that is because they have tightened the input-output linkages so firmly that nothing escapes, there's no waste. So that the waste from the chickens is used, you know, for biogas, you know, et cetera, et cetera. I would like to see the South Louis Community College farm move in that direction.
That speaks to me to the farm also being steeped as a research base as well.
Exactly. And you know, many years ago, and this is something that saddens me, is that we always seem to be one step forward, two steps backward. We have a challenge sustaining progress in our country. Many years ago, in the 1980s, we had one of the best, if not the best, agricultural research institutions in the Union. It was headed by a very good friend and mentor of mine, Calix George. Practically every agronomist in the country went through the Union Agricultural Station. I mean, the work that was done there on things like soils, the mapping of soils, the testing of the capability of soils. Calix George and Julius Polius, for example, they know every square inch of this country and what soils exist in different parts of the country and what plants can grow in these soils. Now, you ask the question, where is that knowledge? Yes, it is among some of the graduates, but if it stays with them and it is not brought into a practical setting like the farm, it's lost. So our idea is to pull on that resource, you know, encourage those folks who have retired, many of them were my friends, to get back in, you know, put something back into the soil of our country, so to speak, and help us to transform the farm into a model of agricultural entrepreneurship. That is our vision for the farm. The other area is on the capital side. As I was saying to you, the hotel, what's it called now? Hospitality Institute. The Institute now has some very firm linkages with the hospitality sector. But there's a lot of room for us to strengthen that, deepen that, and that needs a practical element to it. If you go to Barbados, you go to Palm Marine in Barbados, it's a hotel that is annexed to the Barbados Community College hospitality thing. If you go to Hawaii and you go to Polynesian Cultural Center, you will find that that center is annexed to the university. All of the students who run the center, right, are from the university. And the earnings that they get goes towards helping them to pay the tuition. In addition to that, the profits from the center, and it is one of the most visited places in Hawaii, the profits from that go back into the school to help to rebuild the school and so on. So, the board is committed to getting that connection with the hospitality sector and the Arthur Lewis Community College, get it as tight as possible. And that will include looking at setting up a hotel school, okay, to run in connection with that. So I'd say that these are 4 of the many areas that we have identified as priorities.
Okay, great. Earlier you alluded to, and our time is going very quickly here, but you alluded to, or you said clearly that it is important for us to remain in community. And I know there was a time we were actually looking at university college rather than just university, so that we maintain that community aspect of it. Is that still the thinking of the board?
That is still the thinking. In fact, if there's one thing that this board is very strong about, is that we do not leave the community behind. That we you know, in terms of adult education, that the college has to be open to all. And there are a number of ways in which we can do that, in which we must do that. Take, for example, a fisherman, folk, who is looking at different ways in which he can improve the management of his catch, or to make himself safer at sea, or, you know, things of that sort. As an example, the college should be in a position to help that person, or to suggest to that person where assistance can be received. The literacy and numeracy rates in the country is not where it should be. Many people don't have the basic financial literacy skills. For example, they don't know how to handle a credit card. They don't know how to handle credit. They don't know how to prepare a business plan, a simple business plan. They don't know whether, they're farmers who don't know whether they're making a profit, because they have not been able to quantify, monetize the inputs into the farm. I mean, what is your time worth? What is your input? What is your labor worth? What is the labor of your children who help you on the farm worth, and so on. And so they're in a hand-to-mouth kind of thing. And so some may feel they're making a profit, but they're not. They're in a subsistence kind of setting in that. So, you know, lots and lots of things. So I'm hoping that going forward we can get a full handle on what those needs are. And you know, the vision of the board is to have the college across the length and breadth of St. Lucia. You know, we want people to be talking the college as their first option for learning. And if we can do that, then we can truly say that the Arthur Lewis Community College is an institution of the people, for the people, and by the people.
That is just an excellent way to end. Believe it or not, our time is up.
I believe it.
We've been here for half an hour.
I believe it.
We look forward to working with you on that mission, that vision for not just the college, but for St. Lucia. And I really want to thank you for being my guest today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, on SALCC Updates. You've been watching the Arthur Lewis Community College Updates. Again, remember to stay tuned to us every Wednesday right here on NTN. And you can also see past episodes on our YouTube page, as well as the Government of St. Lucia page, and visit our website, salcc.edu.lc. See you again next week, and continue to stay safe.